brothers and sisters in Tariqat and in Islam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
It is by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the blessings of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Once again, we are gathered at the feet of our Shaykh Kamil, remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Indeed, we are engaged in an activity which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in His holy book that He engages Himself with, that He at all times on a continuous basis sends His most revered blessings upon Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And when we think about ourselves, we send salutations upon Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam whenever we get the time or whenever we can remember Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continuously sends salutations upon Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And it makes us think that there are people in the world who say that you celebrate the coming or the birth of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, but he is the same person who, in their words, they might use some other words, but we say that we cannot see him anymore. They reflect upon their own teachings and they say that the Prophet was a prophet. And it makes you think that when we send salutations upon Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and those salutations Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam hears himself sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And in other readings we learn that those salutations are carried to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. But in both cases, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam hears those greetings. He doesn't just hear those greetings, but he identifies us with those greetings. He knows our names and the names of our parents when those greetings are presented to him. So we are well known to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Alhamdulillah. And not only that, but Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam returns those salutations and those blessings upon us through his exalted station. Alhamdulillah. So we get blessed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to connect ourselves to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewards us for our connection to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewards us with connecting Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to us. And why does he do this? He does this because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us. And he wishes well for us. He does not want us to go to the other place. He wants us to go back to him when he calls us back to him. And he wants to recognize us as his people. And he wants to reward us for the life that he gave to us here. And if we learn from no one else except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we should try to continuously send salutations upon Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And these gatherings are a reminder. They're an annual reminder, but they're a continuous reminder for us that should we keep Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in our lives, then Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam recognizes us in this world today. And on that day when nobody else will recognize you and I, when our parents will disown us, when our brothers and sisters will tell us, leave me alone, when all of the exalted personalities, all of the special personalities of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will disown us, will not recognize us, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam recognizes because we are the ones who send salutation upon Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So on a worldly basis, I'd like to thank Hazur Qibla Pisad for coming to the United Kingdom, for bringing this light of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam into our homes, for bringing this beauty and this fragrance of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in our lives, that serves as a reminder that our purpose in worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what we do is worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does is guide us towards Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to keep this relationship between our shuyukh and our household of Eidgah Sharif, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the strength and the courage to continue to serve the shuyukh and the home of Eidgah Sharif. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to recognize Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to enable Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to send blessings upon us today, but most importantly, as a result of the efforts of our shuyukh and the efforts of our household, inshallah Rahman, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will enable Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam to identify us on that day, and then enable us to live with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam eternally, inshallah.